last 12 months, I've been creating YouTube videos from my home office, which is a really tiny room measuring just 3 meters by 2 meters. Filming in such a small space means I don't really have the luxury of being able to use all the production equipment that I'd like to, but I have found a number of ways to improve my creative workflow to produce the highest quality videos possible whilst using minimal floor space. Hey pals, welcome back. If you've been following my recent videos, you might have noticed some changes in my backdrop as I've been experimenting with different filming setups. When you think of your favourite YouTubers, their studios are often as memorable as they are. Nothing did a really good job of demonstrating this in their recent product launch for the year too. It's really important to have a consistent visual identity so that people can more easily recognise your content and build a level of familiarity and trust, which I think is essential to long-term success. Even though I've been doing YouTube for about a year now, I still haven't found an A-roll setup that I'm completely satisfied with. I wanted to create a captivating and memorable talking head shot that uses the least amount of floor space and also minimises the friction of setting up and dismantling camera gear between videos. So with all these goals in mind, I set out to find the best solution for my individual needs. Here's how it went. Kicking things off with the space itself, the initial challenge was figuring out how to set up my studio for maximum efficiency and make the most of the limited square footage. The room's compact size and shape meant I had to get creative with the layout, and I've even cleared out a lot of the furniture I had to help maximise floor space. On one of the walls, I've installed these slat wall panels that look amazing in person. However, the vertical lines can be a bit distracting on video, so I chose to use the opposite wall as the starting point for my backdrop instead. Knowing that I wanted to create a consistent visual identity across my content, I used my Instagram as a reference to create a mood board that would give me a bit of steer. This really helped me to visualize the color palette of my personal brand with lots of warm tones and natural materials. With this in mind, I decided to paint my wall a slightly off-white color to better complement my skin tone and to make the shot look a bit more visually appealing. I picked up a tin of Grey 2 from Lick, which has been my go-to paint brand for a while now. I really like the finish you get from these paints, and not that it makes a difference to the end result, but I also really enjoy their branding. These square cans are just a vibe. The finished result was perfect, and even though the colour change was subtle, I think that it made a big difference to the look and feel of the room. Now that I had a blank slate to work from, I started to visualise how I wanted my A-roll shot to look. I knew that I wanted a desk in the foreground to add some depth to the scene and to provide a stage of sorts for showcasing the products that I'm talking about. Up until this point, I've been using this grey concrete effect table, which is actually just the top section that came with my standing desk, covered in a vinyl wrap and then attached to some IKEA desk legs. While I'm all for upcycling and repurposing things I already have in my home, this setup hasn't been the sturdiest solution. The whole thing wobbles, which is less than ideal for things like top-down shots. I knew that I needed something more solid, so I was super excited when Oakwood reached out and kindly offered to sponsor this video. I really enjoy using Oakwood products, and I featured several of their desk accessories in previous videos. They're definitely one of my favourite brands for elevating the look and feel of a workspace, and they make incredibly premium products focused on comfort and design. They recently launched their 3D configurator and augmented reality tools, which allow you to build the perfect size product to meet your needs before using AR to visualize how it would look in your space. I opted for the classic desk in oak, which exactly matched the aesthetic that I wanted to achieve. With the help of the augmented reality feature, I could visualize how the desk would fit in my space and get a better idea of the remaining room. I was actually really impressed with the AR camera. It was super responsive and genuinely felt like the desk was already in the room. It's seriously worth a try. When the classic desk arrived a couple of weeks later, I was super excited to get started. The first thing that struck me while setting it up was its substantial weight. Given that it's made from solid oak, I probably shouldn't have been surprised, but it did make moving it a bit more of a challenge. Excellent for sturdiness, but not so great for maneuverability. I noticed that the legs had protective rubber feet attached to 1/4 inch threads, so I swapped them out for a basic set of caster wheels for easier movement. I have to give it to Oakwood, they really know how to make great looking, quality products. I share their passion for minimal design, and as a long-time customer who really appreciates their core values concerning environmental care, I definitely recommend them. Thanks again to Oakwood for sending out their classic desk and for sponsoring this video. Although I loved having the desk in frame, the rest of the scene just felt a bit empty, so I set up my camera to see how everything looked through a lens and to brainstorm ideas for designing my set. I was eager to introduce some earthy tones, so I picked up this massive Strelitzia plant from IKEA, which definitely adds some character to the scene. The huge leaves help to soften the straight lines created by the desk and door frame, and really help to balance the shot. To top it off, I brought back the Govee Lyra floor lamp that I featured in some of my previous videos. I've positioned it towards the camera this time to act as a practical and to add a bit more of a rim light to help separate me from the background. Finally, I bought this huge cutting mat, which I think looks really cool and should help to protect the desk when I'm tinkering with my keyboards and working on other projects. I've put links to all these products in the description below. Alright, now onto the fun stuff. Camera gear. So a couple of months ago, I found something that has been an absolute game changer for my compact studio, and I've only seen a couple of other YouTubers taking advantage of it. This is called an autopole, and it's made by Manfrotto. It can extend all the way up to 3.7 meters across and uses tension to stay in place, saving me a ton of floor space and gives me an efficient and convenient solution for mounting lights, microphones, and overhead cameras. I'm a really big fan of Manfrotto products, and the autopole benefits from the same high quality and premium build. There's a couple of rubber pads on each end to stop it from marking the paint on your walls, and once it's in place, it's not going anywhere. I'm honestly super impressed with how sturdy this is. It's strong enough to easily hold my key light, which is the Godox 60W, which is attached to this massive 120cm softbox. If I was going to review this lighting setup, I would say that it's good enough for someone who's just starting out, but I would definitely like to upgrade to something quieter with a bit more output in future. The reason why I chose such an unwieldy modifier is because I can light the whole scene with just one light this way. If I was to use my 80cm softbox, then I probably would have needed a secondary light source, which would take up even more floor space. The light is attached with a Manfrotto super clamp, and I'm using an iFootage spider crowd to mount my microphone, which has a telescopic pole and allows me to position it as close to my face as possible without it actually peeking into the shot. My microphone of choice is the Rode VideoMic NTG, which is an incredibly versatile condenser microphone that can connect directly into my camera via the 3.5mm port. I've experimented with a wide range of different audio solutions, but ultimately the thing that I value most is efficiency. And although I could get better sound quality from something like these microphones, I really enjoy the simple workflow that the VideoMic NTG provides. On the camera side of things, I'm using the Sony a7 IV with a 16-35 Grandmaster lens and a DesView teleprompter. I have a video on my channel where I provide a full breakdown of this camera rig, so if you want to learn more about why I chose this setup, click the link up here. The tripod which the camera is attached to is another iFootage product. This is actually their monopod, but with the extendable middle section removed. Tripods take up an enormous amount of floor space, and for a static shot like this, I literally just need something to hold the camera. But the best part about this setup is that the footprint is so small, I can actually just pop it onto my standing desk and then use that to adjust the camera height. Is that not just the most ingenious thing you've seen today? I have a Godox monitor sat in front of the camera so that I can check my framing and to make sure that things like exposure and white balance are set correctly. I've recently been experimenting with different color grading workflows, so being able to see how my footage will look after a correction layer is applied is pretty great too. So that's pretty much it. When I'm done filming my A-roll, I can either put the desk back against the wall to use as a second workspace, or I can swivel it underneath the autopole for quick and easy top-down shots for things like Instagram Reels. I'm obviously going to continue tweaking and optimizing where I can, but for the time being, I'm pretty happy with where things are at. And I definitely think I've achieved my goal of creating a efficient but practical space for creating content. Thanks for watching my breakdown of this studio setup, and I hope you found some of the ways that I've approached my own workflow and production process valuable. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.